This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. Well, you know what? Now we've gotten past a couple of things about the draft. We've gotten through a little bit of a lull. Now we're getting the World Championship stuff coming out for our Oilers. Obviously, Darnell Nurse named. Waiting on a couple more names to put together before we start talking about who's actually going and kind of stuff. We know Leon Draisaitl's already there, and we're expecting ex-Oiler, as they're already claiming Toby Reeder might be there, Adam Larsson, all that, and that's fine. But right now, we've got a little bit more of a pressing situation, and I think it takes life in the GM search. Is the cap hell, as many would describe, you guys, me, the media, the Oilers themselves, whatever you want to say, that is the situation as it is present for the Oilers. The main reason the Oilers can't make the playoffs next year is their cap. So what do you do? What obviously is one of those factors you can do to solve yourself? Well, obviously you bring up young kids, because you sit here, you talk about a couple guys expiring like Toby Reeder, like Jujhar Khaira. I believe there's a couple other guys, obviously, and Alex Petrovic expiring, Kevin Gravel expiring. And then you've got Alex Chiasson expiring, and the other guy I'm missing is Ty Rattie. Pardon me, Ty Rattie's the other guy I'm missing. So a couple of guys that you could easily get rid of. And a couple obvious ones. Yeah, Ty Rattie, he's got potential to be an all-right player, but I think after the high expectations and the fold in on himself that he did this year in terms of just not being able to live up to those expectations, yes, 90% of that is Oilers fans putting too much expectations on a guy who was unproven. However, at 26 years old now, you know what you're going to get. It's not like we were expecting Jesse Puljujärvi to be a star at whatever 22 and still has room to grow. No, Ty Rattie's a mid-late 20s guy now, going 27 next year. You already know what you've got in him. I mean, yeah, you can get an Alex Chiasson type season, but to expect that out of a guy after you've already expected 50 goals out of them the year before, it's just lunacy from the Oilers fans in my perspective, and the Oilers management in perspective as well. So, where does that leave the Oilers? Obviously, Petrovic and Gravel gone, good go, great gone. So that solves a lot of the rookies coming up on the back end. Sure, you get possibly two young kids back there to fill in some roles. However, the stupid part, this is the absolute stupid part about the Oilers' cap situation, and everybody doesn't understand why I'm so negative on Adam Larsson and Chris Russell. Here's the thing. Out of your top 5 defensemen, no one, quit, please. No one is making less than $3.2 million. The least is Darnell Nurse at $3.2 million for next year. Okay, think about that. Now let's go to the forward list. The highest paid Oiler not making $3.2 million is Sam Gagner, who's making $3.15 next season. Okay, that's where we sit right there. Sam Gagner's our lowest below our top 5 defensemen. Our highest above our top 5 defensemen, which I don't think a lot of Oilers fans really understand, and I really didn't look at the numbers fully until looking today. Sorry, just going to corral the cat a second here, guys. Is the fact that, well, Connor McDavid makes 12.5, Leon Draisaitl makes 8.5, a steal by my opinion. Milan Lucic, $6 million, Nugent Hopkins, $6 million. That's it. We pay 4 forwards more than we pay our lowest top 5 defensemen. Okay? Get that through. The lowest guy on our back end besides Matt Benning makes 3.2, and we only pay 4 forwards more than that. That is exactly why you look at the situation and think the Oilers are in the cap hell, is the Oilers' blue line is chock full of contracts that realistically don't make sense. I've said Adam Larsson for 4.16 should be 3.5. Andre Sekera, already said a million times, ship him. Now you get down to Chris Russell, aging kind of guy, 32 years old next year, but he's value. But how old can you expect him to get and stay injury-free for the most part? He already had his injury this year. So let's not pretend that $4 million is maybe the best option for the next 2 years with Chris Russell either. Okay, fine, dandy, gold. Oscar Klefbom, an injury-prone guy as well, and we've got him signed through 2022. Where does that leave this Oilers roster in a couple of those RFAs? I've already said I'm fine with Ty Rattie and Tobias Reeder gone. Sure, okay. Now that leaves a guy like Jujhar Khaira. We can talk about Alex Chiasson in a separate video. I've already talked about it at length a couple of times. Jujhar Khaira is a guy who came up, Oilers kind of system guy, an Oilers guy that they developed, brought up too young in my estimation, shouldn't have played those games in 15-16, but we all know what a disaster 15-16 was, so let's not go back there and revisit that as the Cats kill each other because they haven't been fed by 5 o'clock. And then he plays, 10 games in 16-17, fine dandy. Okay, that's right development at 22 years old. But then you've got him in the lineup full-time, 17-18, 21 points, 69 games. Bottom six guy, that was all right production, I guess. This year, in his 4th year in the NHL, we expected a little step forward, and we got injury season. We got 18 points in 60 games played, which realistically turns out to, in 69 games, be about the same as he did the year before. And now all of a sudden he's an RFA with a lot of guys coming up in the system. And that is why I think, in my estimation of the Oilers cap situation as I laid out, in the Oilers situation in which they need to play some of the young guys because they've been over-ripening on the farm, as now the media is all of a sudden waking up and a little bit freaking out about, is you've got a chance to do it right by bringing in an entry-level contract to replace a contract. Jujhar Khaira, $675 entry-level contract this year, although no matter what, if you're living in Oilers land, you're going to have to pay this guy at least 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, somewhere in that range in Jujhar Khaira to keep him next season. I love JJ. Everybody loves JJ. We all love him beating guys down. We all love him getting greasy goals. We all love him doing what he does best along the boards. Fine. Yeah, okay. Problem is, it's the reality of the situation in which, you know what, fans are fine with saying goodbye to Tobias Rieder. This is a little bit more hard to say goodbye to Jujhar Khaira, but I think just based on the situation and finding a roster spot for a couple of the young guys, Jujhar Khaira is the guy that the Edmonton Oilers are going to have to say goodbye to, whether they trade his rights before the free agency period, whatever they do, they're going to have to find a solution for Jujhar Khaira that isn't signing him to a contract. Because you've got a guy like Cooper Marody who's fine and dandy to do that job. Kailer Yamamoto who can do that job. Tyler Benson who can do that job, right? You've got guys, Joseph Gambardella might work his way into that Jujhar Khaira role. Josh Curry, don't forget about him, even though he is, a year away from being a UFA. There's a lot of options, and Josh Curry's 26 years old, so let's not pretend, but right there he might fill the Ty Ratty role next season. So there's a lot of guys on the farm who could do this job that Jujhar Khaira does. Obviously, I think the best fit is Joseph Gambardella, but talking about freeing up a roster spot, you've got to look at Tyler Benson in my estimation, and he's 21, so we'd get him in at 22 after a lengthy playoff run, right? 2 rounds in the AHL is actually a lengthy playoff run because you sit here and think about how short the AHL season is. That's a lot more games you're playing. Even if you only play 8 extra games in a 68-game season, that's 8 extra games, a lot of wear and tear and a lot of time to develop your game at an elite level, more so than an AHL regular season. And for Tyler Benson, he's making 808 with 3 zeros following. Pardon me, I can't even make sense of my numbers right now. I'm so tired after a hard day. Cooper Marody's making 925, and Kailer Yamamoto's making 894. So right there, you've got yourself 3 guys who are less than $1 million, where you can save $300,000, $400,000 on the cap if you decide to go against Jujhar Khaira and play one of the young guys. Now, actually, let's go. Sorry, I missed my mention on Joseph Gambardella there. I'm getting all excited. It's hitting that 10-minute mark, and my dog's barking, and it's making sense to end the video. But Joseph Gambardella is making $725. So think about that. Josh Curry's making $687. So, guys, that's a lot of cap savings. You're essentially switching at that point. If you choose Gambardella or Curry to be the replacement for Jujhar Khaira, you are choosing a contract that you had this year for next year, saving money in situations, as we already have forgotten. We need a backup goalie. We need several things. Jujhar Khaira is a contract of $500,000 saving that you don't have to worry about if you choose to trade his rights at that open window. What is it, June 16th to 20th, or whatever that open window where you can make trades in the NHL leading up to the entry draft. That is where I expect to see the rights to Jujhar Khaira trade hands from the Edmonton Oilers to another team. Most likely, I'd say the Vancouver Canucks, if that's the way Khaira ends up going. But what happens, I don't know. But as I said, I think the Oilers cap hell, and the fact that that it is what it is. Jujhar Khaira is the odd man in my estimation of fan favorites, right? Ty Ratty, Tobias Rader, fringe players. Jujhar Khaira, main roster player, is a guy to lose his job going next season. Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Right now, I feel like I've over-explained myself, and I need you to chime in and tell me, is Jujhar Khaira the guy, or is there other guys that are more important to go? Now, do factor in that I'm thinking just based on expiring contracts. I'm not thinking on a guy like Chris Russell, those guys. Those are priority over Jujhar Khaira, but you understand where I'm coming from with the expiring contracts and guys we absolutely, realistically can't re-sign. Guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. As always, I will catch you in the next one.